In this section, we're going to go over how to set up your site. So we're going to go over domains, hosting, integrating the two together, and all that good stuff. So let's get started here. So this is the domain dilemma. All right, we have exact match domains, we have phrase match domains, and we have branding domains. Number one, exact match, no. Don't do it. Don't even think about it. The only way that exact match domains really still work is if you're targeting a local niche. So if you're targeting something like concrete pumping Dallas.com or something like that, they still work great and you can do this. However, we're building authority sites here and we do not want to use this. So just forget everything you've ever heard about exact match domains. Don't ever mention it again, please. All right. So phrase match domain. These are still very valid way to build your sites around. A phrase match domain is a domain that has your keyword in the domain, but it is not the entire domain. So say our keyword is atrial fibrillation, which once again is a heart condition. If that's our keyword, we could have atrial fibrillation symptoms. We could have causes of atrialfibrillation.com or something like that. Okay. We also have branding, and branding is awesome in the way that people are going to remember it and people are going to come back to your site more than once. With phrase match domains, this doesn't quite happen as commonly as when you have a branding site. So a branding site could be something as simple as afibbers.com, okay, and that has to do once again with the atrial fibrillation. So it's just a shortened version of it. It sounds I don't know, it sounds kind of cool, I guess. So people are going to likely remember that and they're going to come back to it because that's one that I've remembered through doing this whole keyword research process and going through it. So that's also a very good way to do it. So you really need to decide if you want to stick closer to the keyword or you want branding. Okay, that's something that you're personally going to have to choose. I think one's better in some instances and the other's better in others. So they're pretty equal in my opinion. All right. So domain criteria. When you're choosing a domain name, do not have more than one hyphen. Okay, I would not even recommend one typically, but one you can usually get away from. I actually had a really popular Adsense site that had a hyphen in it pretty recently, and it's no big deal, I guess. But I just usually try to get a domain without it, and with phrase match and branding domains, this should not be a problem. It may have been an issue when you had exact match domains because there's really only 3 domains that you can get for that exact match. But so you want to have 3 words maximum, and I put in most cases in parentheses because if there's a very low competition keyword, you can usually stick in a 4th word and you'll be okay. But I like to stick with 3 words maximum. You only want to use .net, .com, .org domains. I always choose .com first. I don't know why I do it. I think they're all pretty similar as far as results go, but stay away from .biz, .info, .mobi, or any of those. You just really want to stay away from them because you're not going to have the same results. If you go and search for pretty much any keyword in Google, probably 99.9% of the time, you're going to have no top 10 results other than .com, .net, .org. So stick with those. And research before you buy. Don't just go and buy a domain off a whim. Actually go through and try to think, is this a good domain? Is this going to sound good to the person who's visiting my site? Are they going to remember it? If it's a branding domain, does it make sense? If it's a phrase match domain, and is it really related to the site? Because you don't want try to set up a branding domain that people are not going to be able to associate with your site. Like we had afibbers.com. It has to do with atrial fibrillation. What if you had your name as a domain and it was going to the same site, atrial fibrillation? It just doesn't make sense, does it? So try to make sure that it kind of matches the niche that your site is built around. Before you buy your domain, I want you to go to fatwallet.com. We all want a fat wallet, right? Of course. Okay. So let's go here. We'll just go to Google and type in We'll go Fat Wallet GoDaddy coupons. Okay. So here we are. Sale. $2.49 domains additional for $9.99. So you can get your first .com domain, and this is not the first one in your account ever. You could have domains already in your GoDaddy account. This is just with this particular coupon code right here. So you just take this coupon code, you go into GoDaddy, you pick your domain, enter that in, and you're going to get your domain for $2.49. Not too bad, right? They also have coupons for hosting plans. I never, ever, ever recommend going with GoDaddy for hosting. They are absolutely horrible. So then you have over here, you have $4.com and free private registration. This is a great deal right here. I would actually probably go with this one over the $2.49.com. And here's why, because if you don't do free, or if you don't do private registration, anybody can go into the Whois database and they can find by your domain name your information, so they can find your name and your address. And the free or the private registration makes it so they can't see this. It just has basically WhoisGuard, so they can't see it. And this is $4. I think the free private or the private registration is typically, I think, $10 a year. There's also 32% off of new products, and $10 off a $50 purchase, and all kinds of good stuff down here. So once again, you're just going to take this, you're going to go type it into GoDaddy, and you're good to go. What you can also do, and I highly recommend, and what Fat Wallet really is it's a coupon site, first of all, but it's also all kinds of deals. So people post deals that they find if they go to a website and they find a deal on a really good electronics, or some kind of electronics. So say this certain camera, and it's $200 off what it normally is. They'll post it on here so people can go and find it and buy it. Now what they also do is they have cash back. So what happens is if you sign up to fatwallet.com and it's free registration, and you go and you purchase a domain from here, so you would click shop now, it'd take you to godaddy.com, and they get paid a commission based off of this. Fat Wallet does. So if you spend $10, they're going to get maybe, I don't know, a couple dollars, if that. And then what they do is they give a portion of that back to you. So they're going to pay you out that cash back. Now how they do this is they wait until the refund period is over for whatever vendor it is, and then they'll send it out to you. Okay? Okay, so which domain registrar is better? The two main ones are GoDaddy.com and Namecheap.com. And there's actually, I don't always choose one or the other, and I'll tell you why. Let's go and take a look. So here, here's GoDaddy. I usually like GoDaddy. You can usually find good deals on fatwallet.com where it makes it worth it. So if the domain that you can get on GoDaddy is less expensive, or you can get free private registration, then that's great. However, we go to Namecheap.com. They offer a year of free WhoisGuard protection with every domain you purchase. So if you can get a comparable price domain at Namecheap, go for it, because you're going to have that free private registration. If you don't care about that, then go with GoDaddy, because you're typically going to be able to get better deals. So that's really the only good thing about Namecheap. They're pretty similar. GoDaddy's just got there first, and they have a bigger name. And they have Danica Patrick, who drives their race car, who is not too bad looking at all. Anyways, so then you just go and you type in your domain. So we could do atrial fibrillation causes.com. Well, don't need the .com, and search. And it's probably going to be taken, but who knows. So it's already registered. We could have the .net or the .org for $9.99 or $12.99. And then you would just go and you would keep going through and register it. Okay? So now let's take a look at hosting. And I want to go through something really quick here. So there's a few different types of mainstream hosting. The first one is shared hosting. So say this is a server box. So this is at a hosting company somewhere, maybe in Chicago or Dallas or somewhere in the United States or whatever country you're in. So this has all your hosting information on it. So shared hosting is where there's quite a few people on the same server right here. There could be anywhere from 15 to 20 different people on this one server. So all your websites are going to be on this server, as well as 15 or 20 other people's. A virtual private server is when there is typically a few people on here. So there could be maybe 3, 4, 5 people on the same server. A dedicated server is where this is all yours. Everything is yours. The memory is yours, the hard drive, the bandwidth. Well, I guess the bandwidth comes through the server, but anyways, everything's yours. Shared hosting is obviously going to be the least expensive because there's 20 people on there. Virtual private server is going to be more expensive than that, and dedicated server is going to be even more than that. Okay, so here's the hosting provider that I recommend if you don't have, like, I don't know, 100 websites, or if you're just doing shared hosting. If you're doing a virtual private server, I have a different one I recommend, but most people just stick with shared hosting, at least for a while, until they get a few sites up or they start generating a lot of traffic. Okay, so let's go back down here, and here is HostGator.com. So let's look at the plans here. So the hatchling plan starts at $3.96 per month. The baby plan is a little bit more. It's $6.36 a month, and that's based on a 3-year period. Otherwise, if you pay monthly, it's $7.96 a month. The business plan is a little bit better, and that's going to be $11.96 a month if you pay monthly. They also have virtual private servers, and as you can tell, this is a little bit more expensive. It's the first month $35.42. Recurring is about $50, and you can change the level all the way up to $219.95 a month. And dedicated servers are about $139 for the first month, $174 a month recurring, and these are pretty expensive, and they go up from there. Now, if you actually are going to do a virtual private server or dedicated server, I recommend going to liquidweb.com, and you can get a virtual private server or dedicated server here, and they're fairly comparable in price to HostGator. This is for like the serious entrepreneur. This is for the people who are going to have tons of traffic coming to their website. So as you can see, the smallest one here is $50 per month, and these are all virtual, so it's very easy to upgrade. I actually, when I have a product launch, I'll actually upgrade it to a much higher server, and it's charged per day, not always per month. So I usually go with this one right here. It's $4.93 a day, and then it's only about $7 more per day if I go up to this one and then I switch back. So it's pretty cool, and you can get by with this 1 gigabyte one for quite a long time. So you're going to want to sign up for a hosting account if you don't already have one. Once again, if you're doing a shared hosting, you're going to want to go through HostGator.com.